It's poker time. Playing 5-10, often with a $20 straddle as well.
Check.
Blake. We're right into this hand, apparently.
Let's
This
do
went
it.
Super fast, but okay.
They both have a straight draw.
They do. They both have the 5. It's cheap. And no one gets there. Blake is winning. Will he win? Yes.
Good way to put it.
Blake is going to bluff it.
75 gold.
And he's very happy, but he had the best hand.
Good for him.
Like in a very stylish jacket. The rest of these guys could really stand to learn a thing or two from Blake's fashion sensibilities. I think we can all agree on that, Brewer.
Can we get through an episode without this type of stuff?
Jeremy.
Yeah, poker guys.
One thing I have noticed is that from episode to episode, Jeremy's hair has not improved. It's the same. Right? I mean, that's just factual.
You'll have to talk to Jeremy about that.
I didn't say it got worse. I just said it's the same.
Okay.
Technically, it's not a put down.
Jeremy's golf game is where I would love to be in my golf game. Drunk's fun. If that was as good as I got at golf.
See, there is a $25 straddle on.
Waterboy feeling a little loosey-goosey on the button.
They're really believing in the power position, I guess.
Brewer probably going to call. It's fine to 3-bet that against the button. But
Very reasonable to 3-bet.
calling's totally good, too. Folding would be bad.
Well said. And there's top pair.
Easiest thing in the world to play is Brewer. Just check call and hope you're winning.
Waterboy has kind of a almost always bet spot here
It's
and
got 5 high. Yeah.
on a board that generally favors him. Easy call for Brewer, and let's see if Waterboy shuts down or not. I guess he could pick up a 6 or something. He doesn't, but that's a good card.
That's a card to not shut down on for sure.
Yeah. He could apply some real pressure right now with a big bet.
He is.
We're looking at Brewer post check. And there's the bet. You can see it in the lower right corner. Is that 200?
Maybe 250. No, 200. Okay.
Well, it's gotten a little stickier for Brewer now.
Brewer has to ask himself, would Waterboy have bet a hand like ace-10 on the flop or ace-8, and would he bet it on the turn once called?
It's not would he bet it once in those two streets. Would he bet it twice? The diamonds come in. And
That's not a great card for Brewer.
But Waterboy does make a pair now. It's never good.
Never.
Unless he thinks Jack 10's going to play like this sometimes. But
there's no backdoor flush draw on the turn, so there's not really any Jack 10s left, I don't think.
It's a pretty good spot to rep, but he decides to give up after the 2 calls from Brewer. And Brewer's going to be pretty excited to win with the queen there, I got to think.
Would have been interesting to see a river bet, see how Brewer reacted.
I don't see how he can call again most of the time, right? On
it's
a big
very
river
difficult. Bet. Yeah, I mean, that at that point, Waterboy is repping 2 pair plus.
Yeah,
and
often
a flush, yeah.
Yeah. Could have aces up sometimes, though.
Depends on what you need in a dog. Turns out that my little guy's the energy that I needed.
Looks pretty freaking good. It looks a little better than the last time I was up here, Brian. Just a little bit. Yeah. I don't think anyone got my band joke when I said it, but yeah.
I saw pictures on Instagram.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've been training how to pick up racks off the ground
Rags?
There is a straddle in this hand.
for the poker round.
That's
so I can bring
Jeez,
you
clean
somewhere.
your house, Devin. You got your dog.
L-Dog.
I mean it like that.
Is not going to play the 5-4 off, although Waterboy was on the button.
Why?
Train your dog to pick up.
So I hate to
Cremio not
Could've
folding.
played that one.
He's not folding.
Okay, that makes more sense.
That's awesome.
BMW Blake's got all the options to him. He's going to call. I guess everyone always has all the options to them. But
Yeah, but with the hand,
you know what I
it
mean.
means you can. Jeremy's got the pretty junky 5 deuce, but it is suited, and everything is wrong on the graphics as always.
you can make cool straights with 5 deuce that people do not see coming. But
That's not going to
instead,
do it.
That's very BMW Blake. And Cremio with the king 9 of spades. He's got the nut flush draw.
Oh, yeah, we have some action coming here.
Blake's going to lead right into Cremio. Let's see how this works out. Cremio calls quickly.
Got to be a little bit worried with ace deuce.
Yep, I expect we will. Unless it's a deuce on the turn, it is not. It should mostly be a check or a blocking bet here from Blake.
Like $75 or something.
You could do that. Looks like he is going to bet, and it's
That's
more like
wo-
175.
That's like a real bet
Yeah, it's half pot.
to
and
get called by pocket pairs, I guess.
Cremio just thinks he can't move Blake off an ace, so isn't trying. And the river is a 7. Cremio's dreams go up in smoke. Now, this would be a pretty good time to check.
I don't see how Blake could consider betting for value at this
You
point.
could try and bet to get value from like kings or queens because the spades missed. That's all there is, right?
Yeah, but that's pretty rare. He's going to do it.
Well, it's not going to work against Cremio's hand. There's no value to be had.
Cremio does not have a good bluffing hand.
He has the wrong hand to bluff with for sure. I guess the 9 blocks the straight. He lets it go.
Are we playing the knit game? Is that what those cards are?
Because he said nice things about
Oh my God. We are playing the knit game, sir. That
That's
is
kind
what
of a
those
big
cards
deal.
are. Wow, we really spaced that from last episode, didn't we? Boy, that's kind of important.
Yeah. Yeah, a little important.
So who's left here? We got Jeremy on this side of the table. I think we got 2 players on the other side, though, too. That explains a lot more why Waterboy's opening 5-4 off
Yes, it
on
does.
the button. And why Brewer's holding on a little bit more with King Queen on the turn.
So, what's the prize here? What's the penalty and what's the prize?
There's no prize except everyone gets I think $25 from the loser.
Okay.
So whoever is left with a card in front of them, which as we were saying, it's just Jeremy and like 1 or 2 others. We're gonna have to go see the other side of the table again to confirm
Not to
that.
talk crap about my daughter, but I have a favorite child.
Exactly.
Waterboy certainly one of them since he's playing King 5 off here.
Yep.
Just
And
trying to find.
Jeremy flops 2 pair. He's likely to no longer have that card in front of him at the end of this hand.
Yep.
Yeah, Waterboy's got a card.
Waterboy and Cremio. So it's the 3 of those guys. Cremio looked like did Cremio also have cards?
Are you sure Cremio has a card?
I thought he did. Our dealer's head is currently blocking it. She's occluding the card, but I believe he does have one. It is a little hard to tell. That noggin is
We're talking about important things.
blocks out all light.
Wow.
Oh, he doesn't have a card.
It's just Waterboy and Jeremy. That means Waterboy's going to be the
Yeah.
loser unless somehow a huge move is made that works against Jeremy, which I don't see happening.
It'll be like good, our time together.
So it looks like Waterboy just lost the knit game.
Well, we're going to know right now because either everyone gets paid or Cremio still has a card.
We'll keep it a secret from her.
The fact that no one has gotten paid yet makes me think maybe Cremio does have a card, and it was indeed blocked.
Perhaps.
And then she was like, what? No way. Because every year I've asked, like, Jordan, can I please get a dog? And every year
It must be, right? Because
he's
no one's gotten paid. And I don't know if you guys ever played these games before, but it's the moment somebody loses, everyone else is clamoring to get paid in.
Of course. Now Cremio's hand maybe is blocking the
I
card.
think it is. Because who else even could have a card here?
Nobody.
Right. So it's just got to be those 2.
yeah, for no. He is a good dog.
Yeah, you can see it. There it is. See, it's his wrist was blocking it. It's right in front of his chips.
We need new technology for this.
If we just were paying more attention.
Blake doesn't
but-
have a card, right? Doesn't
Blake,
have-
no, Blake won that hand.
yeah, right. Just making
It's just
sure.
those 2.
Just making sure because of,
Yeah.
what's currently
Things.
happening right now.
Sure.
L-Dog doesn't have a card, right?
Right.
But actually he only had to call 15, so. Hey,
He's
Blake has a
suited.
flush draw.
Blake checks his flush draw back, surprisingly. He's now got a straight draw to go with the flush draw. I mean, it's obviously a bad flush draw, but
We're really overselling these hands here.
yep. I mean, a straight draw. It's a legit straight draw.
So does L-Dog
I'm sure, like,
with the
That's
straight
true.
draw.
That's true.
if my spouse or I like got
Blake
one
wins, humiliates L-Dog by turning his hand over.
like
It's the second worst hand in poker right now with the 4 deuce. Humiliates in grand.
there isn't a number.
There's a number.
Yeah, you can see Cremio's card there. Well, you could for a second.
He's got a card. Just relax. We know. The card gate is over. We know he has a card.
Yeah, come
That's
on.
the thing.
$1 million.
No, there's not a
100%
number.
no. 100% no.
25.
I like if
Must
you,
be
if,
rough- must be
if,
nice
if that
to be
cash
robbed.
if that cash was on the table, I'd be like 100% no.
You realize you could just like take some of its hair and then clone it
No.
for
No. It'd bring-
$100,000.
Yeah, it
Don't you know anything, Rob?
It's the kind of hand I think you just have to play as Cremio when you're playing the knit game.
You cure a broken heart?
Queen Jack.
Yeah, under the gun. Really.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
Oh, and then after taxes, I have $500.
like, Waterboy could just win the hand, and that could be that, right?
Yeah. I think you have to play a lot of hands.
Yeah, and Waterboy has to defend, I think, 100%. Like, literally 100%.
Zero chance.
of hands when it's heads up and they're the two last guys and he's in the big blind, right?
I don't have
I
kids
think
now.
Cremio might have straddled.
Oh, you are correct. And Waterboy's the guy raising. Also a good play. But Carino's forced to call with any two cards.
I think
here for
Waterboy's
50
supposed to
bucks.
make it bigger in this situation.
You're right. He's supposed to make like $250. And here we go.
We got a gut shot against middle pair.
Waterboy immediately goes into pot control mode, giving Cremio a chance to bluff it off. This is pretty smart to do in this spot exactly, right?
Look
with
at
the
this
dynamic.
stare down that Waterboy's giving Cremio just as his next door neighbor right next to him.
Cremio once again betting tiny.
Oh yeah, we've seen this throughout the session from Cremio.
Let's remember that the loser has to pay out like $150 in penalties here. Oh my.
Cremio
Pair for
moves ahead. No reason to bet now, really. He's gonna do it anyway.
Interesting. Very cheap. Waterboy kind of forced to call again.
Cremio getting perfect value now.
Yep. Gonna need a real good river though to have any chance of value.
That's
Well,
a good river, but I don't think he's gonna get called. This is a scenario where maybe he could
This
though.
is the spot where it could happen. You can't see it there, but it is a king. It's an offsuit king. Well, I guess it would be anyway. So Cremio now has the nuts. What a deal for Cremio. And Waterboy with one pair, but
I mean, like,
all he did was check call on every street. So Cremio's range, in theory, is wide open here.
You have to bet big if you're Cremio because that's what you would do if you didn't have it.
Yes. Yeah, you can't bet tiny. Don't try and get value out of an ace. You need to get, you got to.
Oh, that's betting big.
My
Oh, this game's
goodness.
torture 'cause it's like, it incentivizes you to freaking bluff here.
no, it's true. Like, no, like, I'm
This
gonna
would
love
be
it.
a hero call if I could make it.
Well, we'll capture it.
I would be shocked if this worked.
It's an interesting spot, though.
I would have snap folded if we weren't playing this game.
I think if the game was for more money, it might make sense to consider calling here.
Yeah.
Animals are great puppies. They know the babies.
Cremio's trying to make it look desperate. Waterboy is considering. He lets it go.
Show me a
I-
bluff. Come on.
Almost didn't want to see the blood of him calling.
No,
I
that
would've
would have
fe-
been. It feels unfair
Yeah,
because he calls and he has to still pass out the 150
Yeah.
to everyone.
maybe from his pocket if
Yeah,
Cremio had him
really.
covered.
Did I see Jeremy's hand is out? I was saying everyone is
Yeah.
immediately on it when
Second of like.
when they when
He's
the game is
definitely
over.
did his Jenny Slate.
Oh, it's $50 a person.
Oh, that's better. That's better.
Yeah, no, Lawrence wasn't playing it, the game, but still, that's $250.
Yeah,
That's a serious payout.
fun dynamic.
So yeah, when the payout is 250 and you're the last two players and you raise, and the only other player left in the hand is the other guy left, you should be making it a lot more. You're
It
right.
really sucks to have the only other player left on your left.
You kind of have to make it more than wherever the penalty is, right? Otherwise they just force the call almost always, right?
Yeah,
So you have to raise to like $400.
yeah, I think that's right.
Oh, that's insane.
Or least betting. 25 to go?
Well, it's good for Waterboy that he didn't get too in his own head about that.
Yeah, I mean, Cremio's repping essentially just a straight there when he shoves, and
Maybe Cremio got a little too bit ambitious.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Is 800 going to get called much?
Maybe
much different
pot,
frequency?
maybe pot and a half. You know,
I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of making it desperate looking, which
Yeah.
it does. That's as desperate as you can make it, right? So Blake called with a gutter. Still has that gutter.
Waterboy could have had two pair there too. So I guess that
Yeah.
he's probably calling with that hand.
Blake's going to bluff for 80 here, and Waterboy's only got the 5.
I don't know if Waterboy's the right guy to bluff right now.
Interesting point.
He got hit by a car. Yeah, he got hit by a car.
Blake bets 80 into 100, though, and it's only bottom pair. And I think Blake had just check called the turn even, right? And there's the call. You're right. Wrong guy, wrong time, wrong city. Wrong philosophy.
Wrong building.
You open fold.
Well said.
He called it better than the 7.
Wrong type of shaving cream.
Wrong haircut.
Who are we talking about?
I'm not saying because I'm not the guy who picks on people.
Oh, come on.
That's you, Grant. And all your gaslighting isn't going to change that. Everyone knows what's real.
Everyone knows what's real. Reality is clear.
Truth.
Oops, sorry.
Truth is not a debatable thing.
You're a frustrating person.
Yeah.
Lawrence is going full.
But-
He must have aces.
Lawrence is going to play.
Hood up.
So yeah, that's related.
Looks like Waterboy is not going anywhere. It looks like he's going 3-betting. He's gone 3-betting.
I don't think he's necessarily tilting because he did.
No.
He won with the hero call.
Yeah, no, I think he probably actually has a reasonable hand to do this.
And I think he just called, by the way.
Oh,
I can't tell if those chips are the same color or not. So.
well, Cremio got involved, so yeah, you're right. Cremio with once again, the suited king coming along.
He said that, I was just glad
This is a solver-approved play, but Brewer has the queen.
This is a great time to have queens.
Yeah.
Raise 275.
The only player you're worried about coming over the top is L-Dog. You would
Correct.
really expect that Cremio and Waterboy are losing to queens.
L-Dog gets out, and this is just all the cake in the world for Brewer.
What?
It's just easy peasy.
It's just lemon meringue all day.
Yeah. Cremio has not folded yet. He's going to be out of position. Can he really make this call?
Key lime pie, baby.
Seems impossible to make this call, but he
He's
is putting
looks
chips
like he
in.
might be 4-betting.
Oh, that's a raise. Wow.
It's unconventional, and I think it's unconventional for a reason because
Look at the size.
really I mean, the size
the
is
size.
size is very interesting, but he's really struggling to represent anything when there was already a bet and a call, and he's out of position, and he didn't 3-bet the initial raise.
I mean, Brewer essentially always has the best hand here, right? Like, it's so hard for Cremio to have kings or aces here.
if
It's
he
so hard.
if he does, good for him.
Yeah.
For playing it so strangely up until this point.
Let's see if Brewer puts the pieces together.
It's never comfortable to get 4-bet with queens, especially to this size. But if you know Cremio has any moves at all,
Which if Brewer pays attention to the show,
Yeah.
he should know.
a move might be, flatting aces even when there's a raise and a call already out of
From a
position.
small
But that's
blind.
not a move that most people make.
There's the all-in.
And that's going to be the end of things. Cremio is zagging when you're supposed to zig in these spots a little
Yeah,
bit.
Agreed.
And, if they were working, it would look amazing.
That was a really strange raise size, though, too. Like, even if Brewer had a hand he didn't love, he's sort of forced to call almost always, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like 250 to win 700
but
or
if,
something.
but if Brewer does call, then Cremio has a lot of post-flop wins without
yes, he
making
does.
a hand.
For sure he does.
Always. Always aces.
And we're back. Like two gentlemen who
Went away.
stalk you.
Oh,
both those things can be true. Not stalk in a creepy way.
right. No, in like a
porn.
romantic way.
Like I can't live without you kind of a way, you
Yeah.
know?
And nobody else can either.
No one, if I can't have you, no one, one shall. Yeah. Good stuff to make jokes about. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's
I'm not going
really-
to catch any flack on
No,
that
it's
in
gonna
the
be
city
fine.
of Portland.
Weird-ass hand.
Anyway, easy win there for, whoever won.
Raise.
Cremio?
Call, re-raise. I mean, that's just
I mean,
pretty
it was a
strange action.
3-bet, 4-bet, 5-bet.
Your action was
It's close enough to
more
what happened,
understandable than
Yeah.
his.
and certainly shocking to L-Dog's point.
Yeah, like, well, how dare you? You're in small blind and you sleep call my raise, but then you re-raise his ass. I
Yeah,
don't know,
it's
the story was a little weird.
L-Dog right about that. The story was a little weird.
It was a very interesting story, but I just don't know what fucking story it was.
That's why he decided to jam the 7 deuce.
And he was just like, fuck this guy. Gonna hug the shit out of this guy.
Stupid punchable face.
feels right. The story checks out.
Call option.
Last time we went
Let's play a big
Clash of the Titans. Blind versus blind.
Blonde versus blonde.
Blonde versus blonde.
Okay.
Top pair for Jeremy.
More than top pair.
Trips for Jeremy.
Got to try to get some value, but he will not be getting any.
Brewer with no back doors, no front doors, no doors really of any kind. No
Yeah,
side
I've been to
doors.
his house. There's no doors.
Yeah, it's all windows and empty spaces.
Yeah, you have to go through a window.
Or an empty space.
If you could bring me a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
That's not a door.
Yeah. He calls those voids.
More than that.
Oh, Brian.
Does he?
Yeah.
So if you want to buy it, it's fine.
You guys are closer, I guess. Than
Yeah, yeah.
He wouldn't tell me this.
He wouldn't- yeah, that's personal.
To be arranged. I
A
mean,
can
you can
and
you
light
can
on
accidentally
fire.
mess one of them up.
Did you buy another one? Are we waiting on a new one or something?
China.
Yeah, we're waiting on Brian to get some door fees apparently. Yeah, sure you did. Shadow.
Waterboy with a very playable hand here.
I'm about to order them.
I guess he might have
I
straddled.
think he straddled.
He
'cause
straddled?
Blake's making it 55.
Raise 55. They worked that first one.
Yep, and there's the call from Waterboy.
That first
With the
King nine of hearts.
King Nine of Hearts. There it is.
well, why can't we just order the
One heart, and it's a queen too. But Blake flops trips.
Brian?
For that price, I think you are not going anywhere as Waterboy. It's an easy call with the back doors.
Verification.
Looking for the Jack of Hearts on the turn.
Any heart will do, really.
That is not it.
That's Blake having a full house.
Should Blake check?
I think Blake should bet.
Me too.
Waterboy could easily have a queen. Let's get max value from a
What
queen.
if once in a while Waterboy could have a 5? And oh my God, get it all. Right?
Or Waterboy could have queen X of spades and hit a spade.
Yep.
Of course, he had none of that, so it's over.
Yeah. Sad for Blake.
Happy to win the pot.
Always. Always happy to win the
And by Jonathan Levy math, pot win is the same no matter the size,
Well, if you're counting pot wins, yes.
which is how you do it.
If you're counting pot wins, then yes. You gonna
Which is how you do
got
it.
something to say?
I already said my
I
piece.
think it's unclear. Your pieces in pieces.
25.
That's cool what I just
I
said.
don't know if I like
Your
it.
piece is in pieces. Wow.
Your pieces and pieces.
Realize, realize, realize. Great.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Raise
Some people get that. All right. King
Do
Jack
they?
off for Blake. Somebody does.
You have to have seen a particular person wearing a
No.
particular jacket.
You
I
can
don't-
just hear me say it and sort of realize real eyes, realize, real lies. Some people heard that.
Now you got it. Now the way you said it that
I
time.
really worked it that time. Blake wins.
How could that be?
By the way, even though it sounds kind of nifty when you first hear it, it means absolutely nothing.
It means if you're really paying attention, you see the lies, the veneer that they pulled over you. What do you mean it means nothing? Look and ye shall see.
Okay.
That's what it's saying. It's basically like when Roddy Piper put those sunglasses on in that movie.
It's like,
They Live.
huh?
You never saw They Live?
I didn't.
He puts on these sunglasses in that movie, and then he can see shit.
That
It's
sounds cool.
It actually is cool. The movie's not great, but it's a cool moment. Anyway, Jeremy with Big Slick. And Brewer did raise under the gun, but he's not going to like the next thing that happens. Probably.
Unless it's him calling and flopping a full house.
Waterboy with a really good hand, but it's getting complicated.
This
Under
is
the gun and +1 raise.
This is a classic tough spot in poker.
Yes. I think he's folding. Yep.
Yep.
That's reasonable. You hate to call and have these two guys just take away all your money with another raise.
Yep. I think it's a 4-better fold spot.
Yep.
And 4-betting sucks because I guess at this stack depth you can make it such that you can fold to a 5-bet because you're just getting destroyed by the range.
Yeah.
But that really sucks to give away that much money.
Yep. And especially against those ranges, the under the gun and +1, I think it's
Yeah.
a fold.
Bluff with nothing.
You have to be really sure under the gun is not putting in another bet, and you have to be deep enough to set mine to make a call there. That's a lot. I don't know that either one of those things was true for him.
It's a PKO, right? Like if I bust them, I get something
So
more.
only it'll be on a stream, so you don't get to see it during the show. That would be pretty cool.
The next
Only
thing
be
we'll,
interesting to the players, I think, right? If we're in the game.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It could be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the next thing that we
Raise
should do
75.
is what they just did on the.
Waterboy just getting right back on the horse.
Snap call.
You start the blinds.
Almost.
Everyone has like a set.
We're not playing the net game, but he is opening 9-8 off. Not awful or anything, of course.
And then it's every 2 hours. the
But some
blinds
people would
go
fold that, Grant.
and then
On the button?
Yep.
Yeah.
most money
If there's rake, maybe.
gets the side bet. I like that.
I don't think you can fold on the button with no rake.
Blake, who called the raise
25, 50
from the big blind, flop stop pair.
and it's a no wrap.
Everyone's got a straight draw who doesn't have top pair.
Sounds like a bingo fest.
That's a little logic problem for you. Trying to figure out what everyone has or who's who.
It's like one train traveling at 40 miles per hour east.
Two pair now for Blake. Time to start betting.
$160.
Brewer says, "This is where I leave you." Like he smelled his hoodie first.
Just for comfort. He puts comfort smells in there.
Yeah.
I think today it's rosemary.
Waterboy does turn open-ended here on this board, and it's 160. And he
It's
does
not
throw-
a good open
no,
ender
it's true.
at
You-
all.
You hit the jack, it's a real problem.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Or the biggest one.
Blake's going to show the two pair, and
Seven?
Waterboy makes clearly a good fold.
The first thing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
I tried
just
to
like,
hide it.
everyone just like buys in for a set amount, and then you can have like, you can have another one of those bullets for the same amount in reserve, but if you get felted for those two bullets, you're out.
You're having a fun time.
Yeah. But like you were saying, but the thing with like the biggest winner gets a piece is like everyone just puts it in before they buy
Oh,
it, right?
yeah, it's a different, it's like, it's separate from the buy-ins.
I mean, it's anything that makes advances the game a little bit makes it a little bit more fun. It's
Yeah.
always good.
Add a little more action.
I think that would be.
Well, it's just like even if it's like popular for a
Crino
while, and then it
did
fades.
not actually fold those pocket threes, right?
The
There's
crabs.
No way.
He's got crabs.
No straddle this time, and Blake definitely calling.
Yeah, and then if people
That's a spot where you could 3-bet Jack 10 suited if you
Yep.
liked, but calling is fine too.
Agreed.
yeah, we could try.
There's a 3 right in the window.
He's going to get at least one bet out of Blake, you'd think.
I would think.
And a spade
Probably
on the
should.
turn. Oh, Blake's going to lead.
I meant we as
Blake does have 2 back doors along with middle pair. It's an odd lead, but interesting.
Trying to be blind to Blake's hand, what do you think is the best play for Caremio?
On the lead from Blake. I think with Blake specifically, I'd probably raise. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
This was Jeremy's game. Didn't you know that?
There's a 9, doesn't improve
Doesn't
anybody.
change, yeah. Blake's probably going to be done with the hand, assuming Caremio puts in any kind of normal size bet. Although he's been betting so small.
He's going to bet $22.
If he does that, Blake's going to call.
Even though ones aren't in play. He'll find a way to chop one of those chips up.
That's 85 into 190.
That for Caremio, that's a massive bet.
It's true. And Blake is going to call.
Except for, when he bet 6 times the pot on the river against Waterboy.
Right. It's only 5.5.
Full house.
Full house. That 9 probably not going to change anything in terms of like Blake's calling frequencies on the river. We know Caremio's going to bet and probably bet pretty big. Hoping Blake somehow is a 9 or something, but
If Blake somehow has a 9, he might have another pair with it and have Caremio beat based on how he played the hand.
yep, it's really hard to come up with how he has a 9 actually that isn't a full house.
Blake is considering this call. He does block Jack's full.
Parity's fun.
Yeah. But Ace King might bet like this. Like you don't have to be wildly.
Yeah, Ace King would
Polarized
be
here.
slightly worried about Ace Jack, but would probably still feel okay.
I mean, when it goes lead, check, call, check, Ace Jack's not there very often. Ace Jack.
There's no real draws. I mean, King 10, Queen 10, sure, but Blake
Blake
makes
does
the
call.
call when he blocks one of the draws.
He gets
Two
shown
of the
the very
draws.
bad news,
Again, another
the exceptionally bad news.
Yeah, the $475 less in your money news.
Bad enough.
I grew up in the
Having the 10 is a pretty bad card to have and make that call there because the only gut
Yeah,
shots
like
on the flop.
Queen 10, King 10.
Yeah.
That's fair. Also, backdoor spades he had, which
Yep.
takes away maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about that.
I understand.
Caremio's been all over the place, so Blake may be thinking he's doing some sporadic stuff.
It's not crazy.
But the all over the place guy can get some big bets paid, as we see.
Yeah, oh yeah. That is the good part about being a dude who fires a lot of shells.
Yeah.
And not that he's obviously in complete control because he can't control someone not bringing more players in. not making any changes was his biggest problem. You know, like even like in the middle of the playoffs. You know, like
What
after
did I
game
do?
1, game 2, you're doing the same thing. You know.
I was not feeling
It's
well.
also like it's just tough when you run into the buzzsaw of like
Oh my god.
the West those
No,
years.
you
Well, and you're in a tiny market. You're not. Nobody
Here
wants
comes Caremio, and Blake is perhaps tilting.
Feels like he's tilting after that call. We haven't seen him call with Queen 6 off in a while. Like, that is unusual.
Yeah.
not a finals contender, but
Yeah, this feels like very much a reaction to the last hand.
Yeah,
I think if Nurkic is not injured that year, I think, not that I
It's
think
a flush draw for Caremio.
that, but I think it makes a big difference because just the chemistry they had before that. They were playing really well.
yeah.
And then he went down, and then the team they lose to is a team that doesn't have a big
Everybody folds. Cremio wins.
advantage in that
This is not a recording.
against Golden State.
I mean, it is.
They had nobody to really.
Well, not when I'm doing it. Later on, it's a recording.
Ah.
Currently, it's live.
And by currently, you mean
Now, as I'm talking and as they're listening.
Whoa, man. You
Yeah.
just broke the fabric of space-time.
I know. And it feels good.
It does feel good.
Asynchronous stuff happening right now, you know? It's exciting.
You were just trying to get asynchronous in there.
I'm not trying. I fucking did it, and I feel good about it.
Somebody asked ChatGPT to expand their vocabulary.
How about pump fake for a big? He plays like a
We gotta put that in the
point guard
title
out
of
the
this
basket, like he
thing because we get more
dribbles
clicks.
from, like,
ChatGPT.
Just put ChatGPT.
I mean, I might. I'm gonna find a way to get it in there. I'm not kidding.
I believe you.
Let's see if Blake has anything non-tilty this time because he called again. I'm pessimistic. Yep,
That's a tilty one.
that's another tilty one. Blake's like, I play all the offsuit queens, man.
Brewer's even opening up the range a bit. King 4 of spades.
Yeah, he's on the button though.
He's on the button. They're deep, but still, I don't know if he's calling this in every lineup in every game.
I think you're definitely right about that. And it's all diamonds. Waterboy's the only diamond holder.
That was like a really nice compliment.
He's the only diamond.
Waterboy's the only diamond in my mind.
Yeah, in my mind. So it rhymes and
No, he was playing. He was
checks
playing
through.
Are you,
Blake makes the,
are you okay?
Blake makes the best hand.
Yeah.
With this queen deuce.
I get the check. Brewer might take a shot. Nope. He just takes a second.
Finally, Blake with the best of it. Let's see if anybody can get any value here. And by anyone, I mean Blake.
I think it's time to bet at this point when
Yeah.
it's checked so much.
We might get called by Waterboy.
I think we will get called by Waterboy. That's my
Very good player.
guess.
It's not crazy at all. Blake could be betting a 6.
Waterboy has good blockers.
He does. He could raise also.
That would be
Those
interesting, but a bad
tasty
story.
blockers.
It would be a bad story.
Yep, very bad. Incredibly bad. Waterboy is going to call. And lose.
I like Eubanks better.
Blake's like,
He just gets to. He's like, oh, Waterboy gets to look at the hand. Like, oh yeah, Queen deuce off. Cool,
sure.
cool.
I raised, right? Yeah, no, I just making sure. I just couldn't remember. Well, you only have to call $60 on the river. That's the good news.
Oh yeah. Nobody cares about $60. That's your half of a nice dinner when you go Dutch. That's
Who's going to a dinner for that much, man?
You don't
At
know how to-
Chipotle,
You don't know how to live.
a nice dinner is like
You get the steak.
$17.
You get the steak. You get extra guac.
All the guac.
Extra guac. You get a side of chips that's beyond the already the chips that they give you,
Oh, yeah, that's smart.
and you get 9 Coronas, and that gets you to
That
$60.
does get you there.
Yeah.
I guess. Good point. Blake opens, Brewer threes. And I
Blake-
feel like Blake is not in a mood
Blake's
to
gonna
fold.
call. Blake's
Yeah.
gonna call.
And Blake, in fact,
Nobody good wants to come to.
Is he gonna 4-bet? No, he's calling.
he's going to call. And Brewer's like, I don't know.
I hope this is okay.
And everybody misses.
Brewer does have the ace of hearts. That's a nice little backup.
Yep.
Grant is.
And I think Brewer 3-bet this hand against Blake because of what he's seen Blake show down.
Yeah, that queen deuce just happened. Brewer now picks up the gutter.
What's that?
Blake looks not interested at all in this hand. I think it's time to start firing if you're Brewer.
Yeah, just to protect your equity. But maybe
He
his
chooses
plan
not
is to
to.
call all the rivers.
Well,
That's a
everything-
river
that
you
ace
could
of hearts
kind
is-
of bluff on if you want to, but
Yeah.
you might be able to just call.
Well, Blake checks, and now it's harder to bluff anyway. But if Blake had bet, Brewer could have gone for a raise. It's a bad story, but he could have gone for it. Instead, Blake does the thing where someone has aces and the other guy has 9-5, which would be a straight. 9-5,
Yeah.
of course, would be a straight. It's good times.
Excellent times.
This is why we poker. By the way, that's an incredible name for like an ad campaign.
I
This is
hate it.
why we
I hate
poker.
it so much. It's
Like-
a lot like Arya's thing, which is this is how we Vegas,
Oh, that's not
which
bad.
I despise.
That's worse. But like, if Adidas had a thing, this is why we poker. I mean, come on.
I'd
You'd
be
be like,
like-
I need to buy some shoes right now.
Why is Adidas involved in poker? I don't care.
They're doing
Sign me up.
they're doing poker apparel now. Poker
Hmm.
like jackets and sweats and shoes and stuff with like,
You know, just you mean
like
stuff that
cards on
people
'em?
can just wear whenever they're
clothes.
watching TV. That's poker clothes.
Grant. You've obviously never played with John Juwanda. All right, Jeremy opens to 75 because we do have a
You got to get
straddle.
those Fossil Man sunglasses to
Juwanda always
own
does
your
wear.
opponents.
Juwanda is big into the super leisure wear, and he always has been. I remember watching him play like in 2006, and he was more cash than anyone else in terms of the clothes he was wearing.
Luxury tax.
He's the anti-Marcel Lusk.
Right, exactly.
And
So
to-
here we go. By the way, we got Brewer flopping pretty awesomely here, but
And
doesn't have
Blake
the best hand.
Blake flopped pretty damn fine as well. It's not Brewer, by
Brewer's
the
not
way.
in the hand.
I only
It
bet
says Brewer though,
gives a fuck.
but Jeremy opened. There's
Jer-
a lot of confusion about who has what.
And Jeremy just folded to a check raise.
Yeah, well, he didn't have 8-4 diamonds. That was Brewer's. hand.
Ah, that's why.
That's why everything's gone to hell.
Now I get it.
Jeremy opened ace deuce off.
I'm up now. I'm up on it.
You're up.
Yeah, like I'm on my uppers. Got the
Yeah.
Yeah, you
like cocaine.
meth.
That's an upper. Is meth an upper or is it?
I don't know.
I think of it more as like a sedative.
I don't think it is.
No, it's definitely not.
I think it's an upper.
For sure, it's an upper, dude. It definitely gives you more energy, not less.
They didn't show the people doing the meth as much in Breaking Bad as I might have liked to learn more about how they react immediately after the meth.
They showed a little bit with Jesse and Mike when they were doing stuff together.
Yeah.
Jesse had to deal with that house one time of guys who were on meth and digging holes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Anyway, L-Dog with ace jack off, Waterboy with the queen nine of clubs. Crimio's out. Blake's going to call with any two. Yep. And no, it's obviously a fine call. And I mean, sure. I mean, I thought he was in the third. I forgot there was another blind. And Brewer is going to come along with the 8-7 off.
Well, it's just like my folks, where my folks lived over there.
Blake's at the 100% VPIP level of poker.
Yeah, ever since that 475 call,
Yeah.
100%. And two clubs for Waterboy.
Gut shot for Blake. And
Yeah.
Brewer with an open ender and 2 overs.
Brewer with the real hand.
L-Dog has the backdoor nut flush draw, but he's probably never going to get to realize it.
Probably not. You got to assume if it checks to Waterboy, he is gonna fire.
L-Dog's considering a bet, it looks like. No, he checks. Waterboy certainly with 2 overs and flush draw and the button.
Feels like an obvious bet. You could check this once in a while, and he does.
Wow,
Ooh,
tricky.
Ooh, another 6. This is getting interesting.
I don't
Who
think I
wants
would
it?
accept water from Waterboy. It might have poison in it. He's all
Yeah.
tricky.
It might have chocolate in it.
And that, I don't want chocolate water.
Transparent chocolate water. So Blake or Brewer now in position to try and steal this pot if they want to take a shot.
Blake
With
is
that
thinking
6.
about it.
Either guy can trip 6s pretty well. There's the bet.
And Blake takes the opportunity away from Brewer, who can't really call now.
Yep, that's right. He could be drawing dead. It's not great. He's got people behind him.
This is one of the problems with checking back as Waterboy. Not to say that
Exactly.
it's a bad play, but this is something that can happen. It's a bad card, and now you're still in position, and now your head's up. You could be drawing dead, but it is Blake, and we've seen that he's playing a lot of hands, and he's playing some of them very aggressively.
Indeed. That's a big miss for everybody. And how is Blake going to make this?
This is not the time that you want to give up, Blake. If there's ever a time to go for it, as you'll see, this is the time.
Well, I mean, certainly, like Waterboy doesn't have a 6 almost ever, and Blake can have 6s. So that's a reason enough, I think, to swing away.
I just mean from a pure results-oriented perspective, Blake's going to be very disappointed if it goes check-check.
Oh, that's for sure. And he does move in. Wow.
And an insta-fold. Blake's going to get one. He needed that one, and we'll see if he can continue next week with some more
Ooh.
victories.
He shows the 3 of diamonds. That's pretty sweet. All right, we'll see you guys next week.